Because in their mind, they believe that they're the victims and that all the behaviors that they're doing are just to protect the child. Even though, I just published a paper with my grad student, Hassam Verivi, where a representative sample of parents rated even one alienating behavior as being abusive. So even the general public sees that these behaviors are abusive, but that person will never see it. I don't care how much you point it out to them, the damage it does, they don't feel it's justified. It's a means to an end in their mind of what they're doing to their child. And they're not always thinking through how it affects them. Because in their mind, that's the lesser problem. The other parent for them is the bigger problem. And they're willing to overlook the impact it has on their child. I think milder cases, people are more receptive to it. So for the programs, for example, for mild and moderate cases of alienation, focus more, most parents are usually more open-minded. There's less pathology, but so there's more room for improvement. But I know most of you all probably watching this are in the more severe camp where I don't think there's much you could say. If it was a professional, I might just say, you might want to update your reading on the research of parental alienation. You maybe attend some conferences like this one. Get yourself educated because most of what we know has been published since, over the last decade. And most people of these professionals have been out of grad school for 20 something years. They probably haven't read a lot. I think right now also there's advances in science and other things that are making it easier to access research. So people don't have the excuse anymore of saying it's behind a paywall. I can't get it. I can't read it. So they can't use that as an excuse to not be up to date. And it's unethical to not be up to date on research. All practitioners have to get continuing ed credits. They need to stay on top of the research. Otherwise, they are practicing unethical. So if you have an expert up there, or alleged expert up there talking about research from 20 years ago, and they're not talking about anything recent, that's unethical. And your lawyers need to call them out on that. This is why mediation doesn't work in alienation cases. Domestic violence advocates have been arguing this for a long time. They say it's actually more abusive to subject a victim of domestic violence, coercive controlling abuse, to sit in mediation because the abuser is just using it to stall. They're using it to further get information to abuse even more. And that's intentional on the part of the abusive parent.
Right. It's intentional, strategic.
These are abusive parents. They're just happy to use the kids. That's why it's an alienation. But it's the same. We're not any different than what some of these domestic violence folks are talking about. We just gotta recognize it could be moms doing it too. That's the only difference. And we recognize that the children could be used as weapons. We recognize that. They recognize it, but they seem to only think it happens whenever dad makes them a weapon, not when mom makes them a weapon.
Before seeing research like yours and some of your colleagues, you're just in a maze trying to make understanding of all of this. Without that understanding, it's torture.